Welcome. This is a 30 minutes-ish handstand practice and prep for handstand, and then also practicing of handstand. Just 30-minute-ish, because who knows, might go a little bit longer, you never know. But because it's so short, we'll go right into it. So please start in downward facing dog. Have your hands wide as your shoulders. Have your feet about the width of your hips. And then on an inhale, move forward to plank pose, the top of a push-up. Pausing to hold here. Up to you, knees up or down for 10 push-ups. I like to go knees down and even lift the feet and cross the ankles to make an X with the shins. Lowering down and lifting back up. So just doing a few push-ups to prep the body. And of course, you don't want to toast yourself, so it's never a bad idea to do the knees down version. But if you struggle at push-ups, handstand probably isn't really the best exercise for you to do. Okay, and then once you are finished the amount you want to do, just point your toes, sit back onto your heels, and then bring your palms to face forward. Cross your thumbs over your palms, and then wrap your fingers over your thumbs, and then just bend at your wrists. You push your knuckles forward, and it's nice stretch out for the back of the wrists. The wrists take the beating in handstand, so if you practice handstand too much, it can start to wear away at the wrists. The next one is a play on plank position, except turning the hands out and then even fingers to start to point towards you. I can't get all the way there, so if I go with one hand, I can get pretty good with the fingers pointing towards the knees. If I do both hands at the same time, the fingers might point a little bit more over to the side, so it's just an extra added challenge. I just don't have that capacity. But then step back and hold plank here. Won't be a super long hold, but just a play on different stretch for the wrist. Whew. This one gets me hot-blooded pretty quick. Holding strong. And then finish your breath. Lower your knees down. Come back to a regular position. Step back to regular plank. All of a sudden, regular plank seems so easy. Imagine doing handstand with your hands facing the other direction. Then lower down halfway or all the way. Lift for your back bend. And then on an exhale, push back downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward to the outside of the right hand. Lower your left knee down. And then from there, lizard pose, sink down a little bit lower with your elbows. You're welcome to keep this as an active position. So seeking the hip opening side of things, but if you want to make it active and have a bit more heat component, lift the back knee. You can even hold your ankle with your right hand and then dig your shoulder underneath, moving your torso forward and back. Okay, and then switching to the other side, step back to plank, and then step your left foot forward. Option to have your knee down, move the hips forward and back. You could drop down onto your elbows, lift your back knee, up to you. And then option to hold your heel, dig down lower with your shoulder, lift the back thigh up, and breathe deeply. Okay, and then step back to plank position. Pause here, deep breath in. And then exhale and push back out. We'll do 5 cat burglar hops. I actually like to use blocks for both hands. That makes it a little bit easier to do the hops and slightly more enjoyable. But if you don't have them, you can't use that. So 5 times, just hop forward and back. Forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Pause and hold. Join your feet together. Then bend your knees, float your arms up, sit down for chair pose. And using this as transition, sit down lower and lower and lower until you sit on your bum. And then lift your feet, reaching the arms up. Extend your legs forward, round your spine slightly, then reach the arms back behind you. Curl in, hold strong for 3, 2, 1, and then bend your right knee in, hold on to your shin. Keep the left leg lifted, lift your torso up slightly, and then switch to the other side. Hold your left knee, extend your right leg long, and then switch. And again, switch. Okay, and then hold your thighs. And then slowly rock yourself back up. And just swing your legs off to the side. This first one is a fairly simple one. You can start in all fours with your feet near the wall. And the best warm-up for handstand is handstand itself. So bring your hands down, go into a short down dog position, often called chihuahua. And then step your foot up to the height of your hips on the wall, push with your other foot and rise up. This first one is just a bent knee position. Allow your head to dangle, press the arms straight, breathe fully, and hold. The longer you hold, the more strength. The longer you hold, potentially, the more panic as well. Okay, and then slowly lower yourself down. And in between the handstands, we'll do hip openers as well. So then just sit down, join the bottoms of your feet together, open your knees out to the sides. Sit up tall, push the knees in opposite directions to each other. Now, similar position, just pull the knees in. Move the right foot a little bit forward, take your right hand under your right leg and pull your heel, the left heel, towards the outer right hip for Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes pose. So just adding a little bit of a twist. And this can be a pretty big hip opener if your hips are less open. And then switch to the other side. So I start just with the knees bent like that, grab the foot, pull it through, and then step the left leg over, wrap the arm around, and twist to the left. Often imitated and never duplicated. I'm not sure who imitates me. Okay, and then back to that same setup. So just transitioning between my two mats. I'm going to make this a regular of mine next time that I start just taking classes as a student, is just put two mats down so that I have more space. But exact same setup, except this time when you're up with your feet, turn them one direction and then another direction. Just so you're adding a little bit of a twist. And it can start to be fun. Whee! Just twisting side to side. Oh, I lost a little bit of the tuck of my shirt. Got to be careful. Keep things G-rated-ish. And then just to come down, try to go really slow. Bring one foot just a touch. And then, don't come actually down. And then bring the other foot just a touch. And don't come down. And then finally come down. Nicely done. This time, instead of sitting, take a wide stance with your legs. And then hinge forward and touch your fingers to the floor, wide-legged forward fold position. Bend your knees, move your hips back. Try to pull the rib cage forward as you lift to a halfway lift position. Can help to even be up on blocks. This feels great for me because I can keep the arch of the low back. And then push the legs straighter And from there, option to lower further. I can get my forearms to the blocks. It feels fantastic. Now, come up to the halfway lift position and just wiggle your feet further and further apart from you, going towards Jean-Claude Van Damme splits. And I've been in situations where people have said, like, go further, go further, go further. This is all I got. I cannot go further. It goes from stretch to strain. And of course, muscles don't like to be overstretched, but especially ligaments don't like to be overstretched. Okay, then heel toe your feet back together. And then now on this one, it's going to be a hop up and then hold at the wall. And the attempt is to come down, hinging at your legs, curling in to go as slow as you can on the lower. Call it the slower, lower. So up to you, one-legged or two-legged hop, but it's get up, be up high, and then hold. And for the most part, keep your body the same from hands to shoulders, head, torso, hips. You can even use the back of your head a little bit, or my hair here, and then start to move the legs independently. So bend the knees, start to bring the knees in, and then as slow as you can, knees towards the chest, and then start to let the feet drop down until they come all the way down. Whew. From there, you might want to give the wrists a little bit of love. You can do little circling figure eights with your hands clasped like this. Okay, just another little prep position. Sit with your legs wide. I'm up onto a block just to make it easier to get the low back to move in and up, and then hinge forward. This one's a little hard to show specifically, but you have to almost move the camera all the way over to the side. You can get to a spot at the wall where you're just close enough that you can push the back of your head into the wall. So I'm talking about maybe like anywhere from 3 to 5 centimeters away from the wall with the fingertips. If you're too close, what happens is you hit the wall and then you kind of bounce back and come down. But if you're just far enough away, you can then look a little bit forward, push the back of your head to the wall, and that makes an extra contact point where then you can actually position yourself and get your legs to be vertical and start to learn what it's like to balance. So we'll attempt that now. And again, just doing what you can. If I'm setting this up, I'm looking at it, it's about 5 centimeters. What's that? Maybe 2.5 inches or 2.4 inches, somewhere there. Up to you how you enter. I always go with the same leg, so I'm going to switch it up just to be good. Even, balanced yogi. So hopping it up. Oh, I don't make it on my lesser strong side the first time. That's okay. Better than hopping up and going through the wall. Now I push the head against the wall and I can move the feet away from the barrier and hold strong. So the back of the head is touching the wall. I'm not going anywhere. And what's great here is it teaches you to balance, and specifically the forearms, the fingers, the hands, the wrists, hold strong to keep you balanced. And you work a lot harder when you're balancing than when you're just hanging out. So again, heels away from the wall, hold strong, do your best, knees in, slowly come down. Nicely done. Join the bottoms of your feet together, knees out wide. You can change the angle a little bit by moving the feet slightly forward and then hinging forward as well. A little bit underrated is just how open you have the hips for handstands. So they don't have to be like super open hips, but it is nice to do a little bit of stretching for sure. Sounds like the upstairs neighbor is vacuuming, which is better because it's 7:45 p.m. and not 6:45 a.m. The next one is going to be a play off of the ab work we did briefly. So come to boat pose again, and then hold on to your right knee and extend your left leg long. And this particular version of handstand where you hop up but keep one knee in is a great way to start to learn how to hold without going over. So I see a lot of people do this in the middle of the room without having the risk of hopping up all the way over. And then again, same thing with the other side. So keeping the knee in and having your other leg go strong. By keeping the knee in, it acts as a brake. And then the other leg can actually venture further than the position I'm in right now. So I'll try to show with the wall and maybe without the wall. That's where it gets tricky with live. Got to get perfect. Okay, so ready for the next one. Notice I like to give a little bit of a break just because the arms and wrists need to be prepared for the next set. All right, so I'll go to the strong leg. I'm going to lead with the left leg. I might be a bit further away from the wall, even though I'll try not to use it. And then have the right knee stay low and bent into me. So it'll look like that. Didn't quite get it there. Ooh, touch the wall. Still might be a bit too close. There we go. And then holding. So the left leg long, the right knee stays down, and it's a great balanced position. Okay, give that one a go. I'll see if I can do it in the middle of the room. Need a bit of a breather. I like the blue mat, is actually stickier. I know it's stickier because it has about like 50 of my leg hairs on it, while the other one only has about 10. So it's a hop up and then hold the left knee in this case. So the left leg doesn't go up, the right leg does. And then once you get pretty good at that balance, you can start to extend up with both legs. But that left leg acts as the control, ground control to Major Tom. Okay, next one is called frog pose. I have a hard time with this one. This one is like side splits, but a little bit easier just because you're on your knees. I like to double up the mat so where it's nice, because this Manduka one that I have is a little bit thicker, and I can still double it up as well. So go wide with the knees, have your shins parallel with each other, move your hips back, and then option to come down onto the elbows. You could stay on your hands and pull the ribcage forward. If you're feeling this isn't enough, just move the knees wider away from each other. Try to keep the hips back so it's not just lean your hips forward. So hips go back and become as comfortable as possible, breathing deeply. Okay, and then rise up onto your hands. Lean your weight a bit more to your left, pull the right knee in. Then lean over to the right, pull the left knee in. Then wiggle your feet in. If you rolled up your mat or you were on a blanket or something, you can just move it back to its original position. Next is an opportunity to use blocks, but instead of the hands down, which I demonstrated earlier, it's have your blocks to stand on. And mine aren't the best because they're foam. They're not as good as the cork or wooden ones, which are a bit more rock solid. But what it'll be is just stand on the blocks. I can still stand on blocks. It's a great way if you want to get taller, is just get shoes this high. I sometimes, I put on my rollerblades at home here in my apartment, and then I go outside, but as I go down the stairs in the lobby with rollerblades, I feel extra tall because it's actually even higher than these blocks. Now bend the knees, place your hands to your hips, and then tilt your pelvis forward. So that means that you tilt it and you arch your low back as opposed to tilting your pelvis back where you tuck under. I can promise you this tucking under will not get you very far in handstands, but tilting your pelvis forward will make all the difference. And then hinge forward. That may be a stretch enough already. Then touch your hands down. From there, lean forward into your hands and then lean back. So it's just about building strength in your wrists, moving the shoulders to your wrists, then to your knuckles, maybe even towards your fingers, and just transferring the weight like that, forward and back. If you're feeling a little bit firier, you can go onto tiptoes as you do this, and then come down. And again, tiptoes, and come down, and tiptoes, and then step back, lower your knees, sit back on your heels, pause, just a gentle twist, left hand to right knee, twist to your right, and then twist the other direction, right hand to left knee, twist to the left. Okay, then hands on blocks, fists or hands flat beside the knees. Push with your hands, lift your hips, press with the top of your feet, lift your knees. And then we're going to do this a few times. Just up and down, building the core strength, the arm strength, the shoulder strength, up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, and then sit back on your heels. Nicely done. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, slight change this time. If you have a block especially, maybe it's just a big pillow, put that under your feet. So you're actually able to go up a bit higher. And then having the hands flat down is going to be better preparation for handstand, of course, because you're mimicking the handstand position. Fists, of course, if you're just feeling a bit too tired for your wrists today. There's also things you can do that you can hold on to, or bars like this. I actually use that at the gym sometimes, these bars. I don't know what they're called. Bars. Hands beside your knees, push down, lift your hips, lift your knees, and then just same thing. My block even moves a little bit, which is nice, allows it to adapt. Just having the feet a bit higher means I can come up a little bit higher, which makes it a little bit more difficult. Rising and lowering, rising and lowering. One more time, and then come down. Okay, and then hop your way up to a standing forward fold position. In standing forward fold, I'll use blocks here and show this from a side view. And actually, I'll go up even higher on the blocks. And in this position, we're not going for a flat back. We're actually going for a natural curved spine. So a flat back looks maybe a little bit more like this, whereas a natural curved spine is bending the knees, tilting the pelvis forward so you get the little arch in your low back. Push with the hands, round in your upper back, press the knees away from each other, and then finally push your legs straighter. And they might not go all the way to straight, and that's okay. If they don't, it's a lot harder to do the next variation. In fact, you probably can't fully do the next variation, and it's just as much of a stretch for your hamstrings as it is handstands as well. Okay, and then lower back down, Then extend your legs out facing the wall and reach your arms up into the air. Turn your palms face up. And it's hard to see here in this position, but for me, I start to round in this position. I need to actually bend the knees to stay a bit more arched. Now, what this does, it defines where the hips are approximately. So I'll just put the block there to know where the hips are. And then I'll use the blue mat here and put my hands where the block is and go up the wall. So same thing as what we did earlier with the knees bent and then we twisted. Remember that? That was fun. And the difference is, though, the opportunity to push the legs straighter. And I just say straighter because if I get the legs straight, it just doesn't feel as good because I misshape the spine. But step one foot up to the height of your hips and then the other foot. And if the knees are bent, I'm not really getting the hips over the shoulders. Look towards the wall and then push the legs straighter from there. Whew, just as much hamstrings as it is shoulders. Staying steady, staying strong. That is not all the way straight for me. For 3, 2, and 1. And come down. Sit into a squat position. Now, I might actually just go onto this mat and then not have the wall or the mat for my hands. We'll do the stand on a block or blocks or things. 2, work towards press at the wall. And this one will be wide-ish legged. So stepping up onto the blocks and then tilting at the hips, hinging forward, and then touching the hands down. Push with your hands, try to rise onto your tiptoes. Maybe be a bit further away from the wall than I said earlier. So instead be maybe 7 to 10 centimeters with your middle finger. Tuck your chin, and you may even get to a point where you bring the back of your head to the wall. And then just play around with moving forward and back. Option to hop up with both legs and go legs wide. Just know that the blocks are there on your descent, so you might bring the feet together to land in between the blocks. Another option, we'll see if we can do this. Pressure's on, adrenaline's high, is to lean forward and then lift a foot and lift the other foot. Whoa! And then up. I'm going to try to just adjust my head and hair. Ooh, there we go. And then slowly lower onto the blocks. Okay, and then halfway lift. And lower back down. Grab hold of the back of your head. Just gently pull it down. Sway a little bit from side to side. Okay, then just to mellow things out to finish, slide your right shin forward, pigeon prep position, lower down onto your elbows, look forward. And then you can stack your hands like pancakes. Pancakes. And rest your forehead to your hands. Okay, and then go other side. Slide your left shin forward. Puff up the chest. Push the knees out to the sides. Lower down onto your elbows. And an option to stack the hands and slowly hinge forward. Coming down lower. If you've still got a little bit energy left in you, 10 more push-ups just to continue to build strength. If you want to give your wrists a little bit of a break, you're welcome to go fists, push-ups. Have the elbows close to the side body, but not propping the side body up. I'm going to go knees down again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Woo! Sit back on your heels, and that is it. Thanks so much for joining. Take care. Good luck on your upside down adventures. Namaste.